You can close the Shabbat Shalom. Unshow it. Okay. All right. All right. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Captain Shazay LRA, Kingdom of Israel, United Worldwide. And today's Shabbat class, as everybody can see, we are going to be, we've been talking the past couple of weeks about Babylon, wanting the men, wanting the women, and Babylon actually wants your children as P.O.Ws. Anybody know what a P.O.W. is? Huh? You know? Okay. P.O.W. is a prisoner of war. Okay. Once there's a war going on, you have prisoners. They're considered prisoners of war. Okay. Please, first when we get started, please like, share, and subscribe if you're watching the channel. If you're with us live on Facebook, just follow the page. I thank everybody for joining us today on the Shabbat. As always, I want to give all honor, power, and glory to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. And we're always here to edify in truth and in spirit and do all things in the name of the Most High Son, Yahweh Shai, and for the glory of the Most High. And we have to kind of deal with certain things. We're going to be watching quite a few visuals today, but we're going to be dealing with quite a few things and this specific topic that's come up in this country. Some of you may have heard of it, some of you haven't. But lately, there's some terminology out here called critical race theory. Okay? Critical race theory. Well, fix this one. Okay. Critical race theory. Some of you may have heard of it, some of you may not have heard of it in school. Go ahead and go to comments. It's actually been banned in several states, and most people don't even know what it is. Have y'all heard of this?
Yes.
Y'all heard of this through me or outside of us?
Outside.
Outside. You've heard of it. Have you heard of it at school?
Oh yeah, I actually heard some people talking about it, but I didn't really hear the definition.
You didn't engage in it. How about you? You heard of it?
You
heard of it? How about you? Heard of it outside of us? And okay. I'm going to help you understand in layman's terms. Critical race theory is Blacks and Hispanics speaking about their history in school.
Oh yeah, then I get.
That's in layman's terms what critical race theory is. It's now becoming legal in some states to talk about the history of Mexico and how Texas, California, and Arizona, and half the Southwest United States was stolen from Mexico. It's also illegal in the United States to talk about slavery or Jim Crow or anything having to do with our history, because it makes the daughters and sons of Esau uncomfortable to learn what they really are. As the kings and priests of Israel, we are commanded to tell our history. Let's go to Isaiah 46 and 9. Isaiah 46 and 9. We're going to start there. It's interesting how we get commands from the government to not tell the history, but we get commands from the Heavenly Father to tell us history. Shabbat Shalom, Nahla. Shabbat Shalom, Officer Bragg. How about Shemin Shabbat? Let's get Isaiah 46 and 9. Let's start there. Go ahead, bring that up.
Isaiah chapter 46, verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the former things of old, for I am Elohim, and there is none else. I am Elohim, and there is none like me.
The Most High says, remember the former things of old. Okay? Let's get Job 8 and 7. Okay. He said, remember the things of old. So that means we're supposed to remember our history. Okay. Job 8 and 7. And we're going to read through verse 8.
This is the book of Job, chapter 8, verse 7. Though thy beginning was small, yet thy latter end should greatly increase. For inquire, I pray thee.
So the beginning was small because we were small in numbers as a nation. But the latter end is going to be a great increase because we got the kingdom. We have the promise of the kingdom. Okay, read.
I pray thee of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
We're supposed to know who we are, where we came from. We're supposed to understand our history. We're supposed to know how we got into the situation that we're in so we don't go back and do it again. However, for some reason in Babylon, they don't want our children to know this. Okay, this is a sincere problem. Let's go to Psalms 83. Because there's a thing called crafty counsel that's going on against Israel. Okay, and we're not just going to say it and read the scriptures, we're going to prove it. All right, Psalms 83, start at verse 2.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
So these are the enemies of the Most High. They're making a loud noise, talking a lot of yap, and they've lifted up their head, meaning they become bold. Read.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have what?
Taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They've taken crafty counsel against the people of the Most High. Read.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
The hidden ones are the so-called blacks, so-called Mexicans, and Native Indians of Seminole and Negro descent, who are the true children of Israel, written up in the Bible. Okay, that's the crafty counsel. That's who it's against. Read on.
They have said, come and let us cut them off.
Let us what?
Cut them off.
Let us cut them off. Read.
From being a nation.
From being a nation of people. Let's cut them off from being a nation of people. Read.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
That the name of Israel may be what?
No more in remembrance.
That's why there's critical race theory now. Now it's illegal for you to know who you are. Now it's illegal for you to know your history, to talk about it, learn about it. Okay, that's a problem. It's racist for you to know what racists did to us. That's racist. Okay. Go to. I want you to share the screen, and I want you to pull up that article. Go to that governor article.
Share audio. Oh, wait.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's an article. We're gonna read something going on. That one right there. Oh, okay. Here I got. Bear with me, family. Bear with me. Let's see. Heather,
The charge.
Yeah.
I need you to plug this up into the wall. I don't know. What did you just have? The HDMI? Oh, there it is. Really? Yeah, but we're still live. Okay. Go ahead and plug this up to that wall. Yes, ma'am. And plug it up to yes, ma'am. Bear with me 1 second, family. Get our screen share right.
Plug it in.
Yeah, that blue light needs to be on. You know what? You can push it down. Okay. You can push it down too. You can angle it down, and it might be better. Leave it plugged in. No, down. Yeah, push it down. Yeah, it retracts. Okay, let's see. Get you that back on. Give us 1 second, family. Okay. Back on. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the share screen with. Okay. Let me know if y'all can see my screen. If everybody can hear us, matter of fact, if everybody can hear us and see us, please just put a 1 in the chat. I appreciate it. We're gonna scroll down a little bit. Florida bans critical race theory amid go ahead, a wave of conservative backlash against the legal framework. Scroll down. That's the good governor of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis. Okay. Okay, look, right there. The Florida Board of Education voted to adopt a rule that bans critical race theory in classrooms. Governor Ron DeSantis voiced that he hopes to prevent students from learning, quote, false history.
So we've been going to slavery, so
False.
False history. Critical race theory is the framework that acknowledges, quote, racism is not a bygone relic of the past, end quote. Scroll down. Right there. Can everybody see the screen? I just want to make sure that everybody can see the screen and everything like that. I want to make sure that we're on deck for that. Everybody just let us know. Put a 1 in the chat if you can see the screen. Can't see it. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Much Byron's watching. Okay. We're good. Everybody just let us know. Put a 1 in the chat. Okay. Kind. All right. So the Florida Board of Education unanimously voted on Thursday to adapt a rule that would ban the teaching of critical race theory in state classrooms. So that means that in Florida, they're not going to be teaching that they used to feed black babies to alligators. They're not going to teach that they would rape slaves, beat them, let them loose, catch them, put them back on the plantation. They're not going to be teaching that. They're not going to let that be known. Okay. The new rule comes with the approval from Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, we saw in the picture, who has been a vocal critic of the framework and who spoke to the board at the start of Thursday's meeting, telling them that he does not want to stop children from being taught about slavery or civil rights, but that he hopes to prevent them from learning, here it is, quote, false history. Didn't Trump used to call it false, what do you call it? Fake news?
Oh,
fake
yeah.
Even if it was news, it was still fake news because he didn't like it, right?
Yeah.
So now it's false history, even though it's real history. It's false because they don't like it. Okay. Thank you, Jay. That would denigrate the founding fathers. So that would make the founding fathers, who are slave masters, that would make them look like slave masters. The decision makes Florida one of the largest school systems to conform to conservative attempts to ban critical race theory, which has become a flashpoint of GOP outrage over the racial history being taught in public schools. So they're enraged that racial history is being taught. Okay. Many critics of the framework view the term as a sweeping set of educational programs they believe teaches American history through a toxic anti-racism lens. All right. That's good, Jaden. I'm good on that. You can stop sharing that. We're going to get a video. And we want this one. Yeah, go ahead and share this. You don't have to do it on your end. Go ahead and pull it up first and then share your screen. Oh, I already got it up. No, close that. Okay, close that Gmail one right there in the middle. Yeah, close that one. And go back to go open up a new window and go to the Gmail. Just click Gmail right there. No, just click it right there. Okay. Hopefully we want to try to get this that's the video we're gonna pull up. Want to try to get this right there. Get the sound right, and we're going to see if we can get things started. Let's see what we got right here. Okay, okay. So once it comes up, go ahead and pause. Go ahead and pause it. Now go ahead and screen share, and make sure you share the audio. Screen share. No, there you go. Share the audio. There you go. Go ahead. And then go ahead and go back to the video. Now rewind it.
So I want to start directly with this because you make a point that is not highlighted often enough. People point out that critical race theory is racist. Like a Florida mother.
It is sad that we are even contemplating something like critical race theory, where children will be separated by their skin color and
rewind it all the way back to that. Now push play. Now push play.
A Florida mother gave the State Board of Education a lesson in truth about critical race theory. Listen to this.
it is sad that we are even contemplating something like critical race theory, where children will be separated by their skin color.
Okay, can everybody hear the video? I just want to make sure everybody online can hear the video and that there's no feedback. Please let me know if everybody can hear it. Just push one in and put one in the chat. Let us know you can hear it. All right. All praises. Go out, Brad. Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right. Okay, go ahead.
And deemed permanently oppressors or oppressed in 2021. That is not teaching the truth, unless you believe that whites are better than blacks. Telling my child or any child that they are in a permanent oppressed state.
Rewind it to the beginning. Not a long
Florida
clip.
mother, the State Board of Education, a lesson in truth about critical race theory. Listen to this.
Pause it.
It is sad that we are.
Now remember, critical race theory is actually teaching the history of blacks and Hispanics in this country. Okay, so this woman is speaking against critical race theory. So she's teaching against the history of blacks and Hispanics being taught in school. Okay, she's ripping the school board for teaching history. All right, go ahead.
Or even contemplating something like critical race theory, where children will be separated by their skin color and deemed permanently oppressors or oppressed in 2021. That is not teaching the truth, unless you believe that whites are better than blacks. Telling my child or any child that they are in a permanent oppressed status in America because they are black is racist.
Keisha King joins us now. Keisha, so happy to have you on the show. So I want to start directly with this because you make a point that is not highlighted often enough. People point out that critical race theory is racist for making white children believe they are oppressors. You point out from the opposite side how racist it is to teach Black children that they are oppressed. Tell me more about that.
So if everybody understands this, she's saying it's racist for Black people to understand that there is an oppressor. That's racist. Go ahead.
Well, the essence of critical race theory is breaking people into groups. And instead of using class, because we're Americans, they use race. And anybody that is put into an automatic and permanent state of oppressor or oppressed is an insult to everyone. And that is not something that's tenable in the United States.
Yeah, how disabling is that to teach a Black child you are at birth a victim? You are at birth put behind the 8 ball and incapable of achieving. That seems to me the very essence of holding a child back and assigning them some very racist assumptions.
It absolutely is. I mean, when we tell people that they can't do something,
right,
they won't even try. So if you're telling young Black children that they are.
So essentially what it's coming to is if you try to do something and you were Black or so-called Black or brown, and you haven't accomplished what everybody else has accomplished, you're not even trying, according to her. All right, go ahead.
Anybody outside of that white male oppressor class or race, that they can't do anything. We are setting our future up, and our children, who are our most precious resources, you're setting them up for failure. And what will we look back to as a society when we see that, you know, these children have not succeeded?
You know, Keisha, the proponents of critical race theory say that the detractors, the critics of critical race theory, don't truly understand what it is and cannot define it. Do you feel you understand critical race theory and can define it?
I think I have a good understanding. I think a lot of us do, but it's true. A lot of people.
She don't know. She don't know. She just want to cleave on to her oppressor. She don't know.
You can just tell by my parents.
Oh, you caught that, didn't you? You can tell by the hair, huh? Woo-wee. I'm not going to get into that because I thought that too. I had that thought. I'll tell you. That's real. Go ahead. Which one?
People don't truly understand what it is because they'll say like, oh, it's just teaching racial sensitivity, or it's just teaching slavery history or Jim Crow. That's not what it is. It is dividing people up in different by their race and telling them what their permanent status is.
Another really good point. It's the proponents of critical race theory that don't understand it, think it's these Trojan horse words of empathy and tolerance. You understand that at its depth, it's about oppressor and oppressed. It's not even about race in the end. It's this Marxist ideology. Really quickly.
Everybody's seeing this.
I knew that was coming.
Okay, so you understand it ain't about race.
So what was it about?
Good question. We can't talk about that because that's critical race theory.
Because it's in the book.
Exactly.
No, because it hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
It hurts me.
It hurts me. Okay. This is what's getting passed down the pipeline.
I can't wait.
Okay. This is what's getting passed down the pipeline. Go ahead.
Last question for you, Keisha. You've gone through an interesting transformation. I was reading about your ideology change. You used to vote Democrat, now you vote Republican. What changed for you? How did you make that journey?
The most significant change that happened was I'm a person of faith, woman of faith in Christ, and God spoke to my heart and he said, your race,
She's a person of faith. That means
woman in Christ.
Because she's a woman in Christ. That means she looked at Caesar Borgias and she said, I'm with you. I'm with you. That's what she did. She didn't open the book and read it. She looked at Caesar Borgias and said, I'm with you. Go ahead.
Has become an idol in your life. And that totally changed my life because I stopped seeing myself through my skin color and I started seeing myself through my identity in Christ, which is who I truly am. And it helped me really see the world in a more correct way.
Imagine identifying according to your faith, your morals, your character, your actions, and not your shallow characteristics. It seems like an aspirational place, not just for a person, but for a country. Keisha,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for getting up with us this morning.
Well,
Thank you so much for having
imagine us defining this country for its characteristics. You heard what he said, right? Imagine defining the country for its characteristics. Well, we did that, and y'all came up with critical race theory. Now we can't talk about it. Okay. This is the next one I want. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Let's see if that one's gonna come up. Go ahead and pause it. I just want to make sure it's gonna come up. Make sure the screen share doesn't go away. Let's see. Make sure that that comes up. And yes, everybody, that is very real. That is very real. Go ahead and skip to 30 seconds. And yes, everybody.
You want support, Rollermark? Unfiltered?
Okay.
Be sure to join our.
I don't typically do old Roland Martin, but they had a very interesting discussion with the same lady. This the same lady that we were just watching on Fox, that was in front of the school board. Now she's in front of a so-called Negro, I think. He teeters, but he's definitely not giving her an easy time of it. So you want to go ahead and push play?
The folks who has spoken out, we talked about this last Friday, was a Black woman from Florida talking to the State Board of Education about critical race theory, not teaching the truth. Keisha King is political consultant and co-chair of Moms for Liberty, and she joins us right now. Keisha, glad to have you in Roland Martin Unfiltered. First and foremost,
they go to hair. They go to hair. Look, she fresh off her knees with Caesar Borgias. I mean, look, she says critical race theory is not teaching the truth. The problem is you start teaching the history in this country, you are not teaching the truth. The truth has become a lie now. It's official. It's become a lie. And it's being taught now. Now it's being taught to the children who are too young to like know where to search it out for themselves. And then the parents aren't quite old enough to have lived through it, but their grandparents are just old enough to be past, if that can make sense to everybody. So it's a sweet spot. Like, oh, this is the perfect time to erase who we are, to erase what we did before so we can do it again.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
exactly what's happening.
What's going on? Go ahead.
what exactly is critical race theory, and is it being where was it being taught in Florida schools?
So critical race theory is the idea that America, the foundation of America is racism is ingrained into the foundation and it cannot be removed. And so the outworkings of that today and in classrooms is that, this is a very simple way to say it, but white heterosexual men, able-bodied, are deemed the oppressors, and everyone else is deemed oppressed. And you can't get away from that. It is what it is because of the idea that racism is ingrained into the fabric of America, that you can't repent from it, you can't move forward from it, and it's there to stay.
Actually, what you just said is not true. So this is what the folks at Ed Week have laid out. Critical race theory is an academic concept that is more than 40 years old. The core idea is that racism is a social construct. Is that true or false? Is racism a social construct?
I do believe that, yes, racism is a social.
All right. And it says that it is not merely the product of individual bias or prejudice, but also something embedded in legal systems and policies. Do you believe that racism is embedded in legal systems and policies in the United States?
I do not.
Do you believe that racism is embedded in?
So racism, so in legal systems and the way laws are passed down, it has nothing to do with race, according to her.
Racism is a system
It's not in the school systems.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not in the school systems. It's not in the system that puts laws in place. So when they made the Constitution and they made the 13th Amendment, everybody is free as long as you're not a criminal. Once you're a criminal, you become a slave all over again. So what do? You make laws like loitering. Loitering is what we do when we're standing outside of the van before we come in for Shabbat, standing around talking. Our people were thrown in jail for that. So you become a slave for doing that. So all you have to do is create policies that are against a certain group of people to put them back in bondage. But that doesn't have anything to do with race. It's just in our minds. Okay, but
housing policies in the United States?
No, because people have to. I do not.
Do you believe that racism is embedded in housing policies in the United States?
No, because people have to. People run these systems, and so we would have to say that racism is embedded into people if we are going to say it's embedded into these systems.
Well, it's so
abstract. They are actually run by human beings.
But if the individuals are actually running the system, and then it's being implemented.
This is fair use. All right, this is fair use. Rewind it just a little bit. Oh, you got a question?
Yeah, this is one thing. There's this video that a bunch of people started ripping on this guy because he decided to share his really weird opinions about. So basically, the video was like, I think the original video got taken down, but people re-uploaded it and stuff. It's this weird furry guy talking about why we need racism.
Why we need it?
Yes.
Okay.
It was like an hour long, and people were like just reviewing it, like his opinions are just not.
Well, I mean, his opinion's his opinion.
Yeah, it's his opinion, but like
everybody gets an opinion.
Got taken down because I think other stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, his opinion's his opinion. You know, everybody gets an opinion, and you should treat an opinion like an opinion, right? My opinion is no good, better than anybody else's opinion, right? But the facts are the facts, right? History is history. What's happened is happened, right?
People just said like he has really bad opinion, all that.
Yeah, because they don't like his opinion. That's fine.
This one video title was called furry shows his stinky feet and his stinky opinions because his character put his feet on the desk. It's disgusting.
Okay, but he's talking about racism, right?
Yeah, he's talking about how we literally need racism.
We need. Okay, look. After class, I want to see one of those videos. I want to see what you're going to say.
I can see what I'm right.
Okay. Go ahead.
Schools are actually running the system, and then it's being implemented. Then it's still in the system. So, for instance, when you talk about housing in your state of Florida, there have been stories where African Americans. There was one woman who was married to a white gentleman, where an appraiser came out to their home and gave them a far less value on their home. When they removed all of everything in their house that identified as Black, then a second appraiser came out. There was a higher valuation on their home. Is that racism?
I'm not sure, but I mean, I certainly know that racism exists.
But hold on, you're not sure. You're not sure that if an appraiser comes out and gives a lower home appraisal, and after meeting the Black woman, the Black wife, but then when they brought a second appraiser out, the Black wife was nowhere to be found. They removed all pictures of her in the home. They removed anything Black art or whatever. Then all of a sudden there was a higher appraisal value. Same house, exact same house, but all of a sudden it's got a higher appraisal value. Is that not racism in housing?
For me, I would have to have more information. That doesn't necessarily mean that it could be racism.
Well, what do you think it is? What do you think it is?
I don't know, but I wasn't there. I would have, for me, I would have more information.
So let me ask you this question: Do you believe?
See, this is the goal right here. This right here, this is the goal. of America. Okay, so our people turn on each other. This is the goal. This is the goal right here. Go ahead.
Do you believe that systematic redlining of communities where Black people live, is that racism?
Redlining?
Yes.
Yes, that was racism.
Isn't that systematic? Because that was a system that was actually imposed by banks. It was imposed by the federal government. It was actually a part of federal policy. Is that not racism?
That was the law at a point in time. However, today in 2021, where we have many more diverse people that run these corporations, we have much more of a diverse. My bottom line is America has progressed. We are not the same country that we were.
Of course not. But we're
centuries ago. But that doesn't mean that when we see disparities, it automatically is an implication of racism.
So let me ask you this question.
It's not always that case.
Okay, so if you're seeing disparities, if you're seeing disparities in terms of in this country, if you're seeing disparities in terms of African Americans, whether in executive suites, if you're seeing that, if you're seeing the same thing in other areas, what would you attest to? If you all of a sudden you look at Silicon Valley, if you see in companies on the West Coast, and you see 1.5% or even fewer Black folks working at those companies, what do you say is the problem?
I would say that we should encourage our community to get more involved with STEM, math, science.
But
we don't need to be teaching that we're permanently in a state of oppression.
But Keisha,
we need to be teaching math.
Are we not in a permanent state of oppression until no comes back?
Well, the goal in her mind is that we got a clean slate.
What? Wait, that doesn't make sense. Elaborate.
That means that it does not exist. When you go through a school, I'm gonna be honest, and I gotta say, I'm gonna be very explicit, but I don't think there's been a year that my children have been in school to where they haven't been called a nigger.
Yeah.
Every year. It's one of y'all. It's one of y'all. It's an incident that's happened to one of y'all every year. Every year. So to now turn around and say, oh, that doesn't exist, is the goal for you to say, oh, okay, it doesn't exist. That's the goal. Okay. So when you look at people like this, these are the proponents of that. This is the goal, to turn all of our people into this. All right, go ahead.
But do you even know that 60% or more of the jobs in Silicon Valley have nothing to do with STEM?
Regardless, I mean, they're not.
No.
Doesn't necessarily mean that they're all white either, because a lot of these people are from India. A lot of them are Asian, so they're not. It's not that they're just white people running these things. I mean, there are other.
So that's not problematic.
That have dominance in those industries as well. And I just believe that we should be afforded those same opportunities.
But right there,
progress into those industries.
But right there, you said we should be afforded those opportunities. There have been African Americans who have worked at companies like Google and Facebook who have said, who were there on the recruitment side, who have said that those companies refuse to hire and recruit from HBCUs, refuse to have programs. And so Black folks who worked in those companies, who were advocates, who said that what you just described, we should have an opportunity. What they say is opportunity was not given. They wouldn't even, and in fact, what they would even do is they would even have a sliding scale, would go, oh, because they didn't come from Stanford or Harvard, yeah, that's not going to work. So when you say the opportunity, but isn't that also racist when you don't even want to recruit from HBCUs, when you look at an HBCU education as less than, when you're not providing those level of opportunities, when you're remark, well, they don't fit into our culture. What do you ascribe that then?
I mean, these are individual circumstances. I'm not going to blanket the entire Black community as being.
I don't want you to go 1745. Yeah. So, in case y'all don't understand, HBCUs are historical Black colleges. That's what that is. So basically, because there was, get as close as you can. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just because you went to one of these historical Black colleges, basically what's being said is, oh, well, you're not good enough because you didn't go to Stanford or Harvard. Okay. That's still not racist. That's still not racist. This is what these people are teaching. Go ahead. And then rewind it a little bit. Do the little, yeah, that's good.
To segregate people by race.
I find it interesting that you would not. I find it interesting.
Why would we segregate people by race?
I find it interesting that you would object. I find it interesting that you would say, oh, no, I wouldn't object to an assembly that was girls and boys, but you objected one based upon race, and you still haven't answered my question. Why? What was the purpose of this of them separating? What was it?
I don't know the reason. I don't have to know the reason.
No. Did you ask?
There is no reason.
Did you ask? So wait a minute. Okay, see, now I'm confused because you wouldn't ask why a separate assembly for boys and girls, but now you wouldn't. But you said I wouldn't have to ask if it was about race. That makes no sense.
I think it's very obvious, and boys and girls are different. And there are legitimate things that boys experience at certain ages and legitimate things that girls experience at certain ages. So maybe, yes, there would be a reason to, biological reasons why you would want to, segregate the children by gender. That makes sense. But to segregate people by race, what is the difference other than more or less melanin? There's no intellectual difference. There is no, what is the difference between Black children, white children, Asian children, Hispanic children, and all different types of people? What's the difference that skin color?
Go to Ecclesiastes 1:15. Ecclesiastes 1:15. Okay. Go ahead.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 15.
Read.
That which is crooked cannot be made straight.
Read it again.
That which is crooked cannot be made straight.
That's the difference. That's the difference between so-called whites, so-called Blacks, so-called Hispanics. Read it again.
That which is crooked cannot be made straight.
Read on.
And that which is wanting cannot be numbered.
So what the Most High made crooked, you can't make straight. You can't fix them. There's no fixing them. So there's a difference. All right. Read on. I mean, no. That's good. Go ahead, Chris Brown.
Color has to do with your ability to learn, with your ability to reason, with your ability to do anything in society. But what would be a good reason to separate people by the color of their skin?
Well,
this is what we did back in the 1800s. I don't think we want to go back there. I certainly don't. And I would try to tell my kids that any person is better than them based on skin color. And I can't believe that you would even think that is something acceptable.
Well, first of all, first of all, I use my brain, and what I do.
Okay. Deuteronomy 7:6. Read that. I want you to go back a little bit. Go back a little bit. Go back one more. Okay, push play.
Any person is better than them based on skin color. And I can't believe that you would even think.
So nobody's better than anybody else, according to her. Read what you got.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6.
For
thou art an holy people.
And the word holy means what?
Separate. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim. Yahweh thy Elohim hath chosen thee to be a special people.
Has what?
Chosen thee
He's chosen thee to do what?
to be a special people
Read.
unto himself.
Uh-huh.
Above all people.
Above what?
All people.
Above some people.
All people.
No, we're all the same.
All people.
No, everybody's equal.
All people.
Come on.
That are upon the face of the earth.
So what she's saying and what the Lord is saying is two different things. But what she's saying is getting national attention. What she's saying is being taught to our children that you are not special, that you are not above all people on the face of the earth. If you're watching, you are a chosen child of Israel. If you're so-called Black, so-called Hispanic, and Native Indian of Seminole Negro descent, you are a chosen people and a chosen generation. It has nothing to do with what they're pushing in the school system, all right? But this is part of the war on our minds, on our children's minds. And this is the biggest attack that's coming forth through this generation. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say what she was talking about, like segregating race and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like I just remember the class where we talking about like how segregation was like the best for us.
Right.
Yeah, because like,
exactly.
but like the
because-
thing is, the stupid thing is like the way she wants to like separate like the boys and the girls, like that doesn't really make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it's separating the race, yeah, because like yes, we're literally different, literally. But, like separating boys and girls doesn't make any difference. Like it's just a boy and a girl. It's, you know, it has nothing to like. I kind of, but like at the same time, no. In school,
I mean,
really, like in school, and then like in the real world, that's not gonna help.
Well,
Like,
see,
you're not separated.
well, what happened was there was some racial issues going on in that school.
Yeah.
And so they divided, you know, the Black children from the white children in an assembly to talk about it, to, I guess, keep the peace. You know, I wasn't there. You know, this was a situation that happened at the school, and she didn't like the fact that they were separated. So he asked her, and this was prior to this, he asked her, well, what if there were parents that had racial issues, that their children had racial issues, and they wanted to deal with it? They wanted to report that to, you know, the administration. She was like, well, my child didn't have no problems. He was like, well, what if there were other parents that had problems? Okay, how do we know that's not going to become a bigger issue? She was like, she doesn't care. The idea of separating her from her oppressor drives her insane. It drives her insane. Okay, give me Proverbs 3:31. Hold on, don't forget what you're gonna say. Proverbs 3:31.
Book of Proverbs chapter 3 verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor.
Read that strong.
Envy thou not the oppressor.
Read.
And choose none of his ways.
Choose what?
Choose none of his ways.
That's the exact opposite of what's going on here. She's choosing the ways of the oppressor. Okay. What you got?
I was just gonna like reply to Heaven. Like, I mean, thing is, co-ed education is like perfectly fine because, you know, isn't some schools are like, you know, they prepare you for social interaction, like, you know, kindergarten, preschool. Even though like I met a kid who basically, I think he had to be held back. I think just because he didn't have the social skills or whatever. Yeah, so it's really like it's to help you have like more social skills. It's not like, I know like all boys, all girls schools exist, but like that's for like a different reason. It's more like, it's not like you're gonna be like, oh, I see a woman the first time, I'm gonna instantly just be angry. You've never seen a female in 5% like that. Something stupid like that. It's more like, you know, social, because like the more people, the more like different outlooks, different opinions. Because, you know, people are still able to make their own opinion, like past like the point of like, you know, oh, I'm a kindergarten, I don't know anything, to the point like where people are discovering themselves around high school, middle school.
Well, see, this is the whole point of catching you guys at this age, so you stay confused, because you're trying to understand and have an identity. You're trying to have your identity of who you are and who you're being shaped into as an adult. Well, when you have this and you have this confusion going on, how do you know which way to go?
Yeah.
You go the way they tell you to go. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So go ahead and push play.
That is something acceptable.
Well, first of all, because see, first of all, I use my brain. And what I do is my first response is oh my God, this is no. I would then go. The first I would say is why? What's the basis behind it? Now, according to now, are you speaking? Are you speaking about what what was taking place at Douglas Anderson? Is that the school?
Correct. And
Okay.
Douglas Anderson.
So so this took place at their School of Arts, and so what the school stated is that there were cultural issues that have arisen at the particular school. And what the email states that one meeting will be for students of color, and the other will be for white students. It also reads about working together, we can all create this, and so we can all create the best DA. And so what they laid out in here was that this is quote over the last year. There's been tons of attention that has been drawn to the racial divide and tension at Douglas Anderson, and there were efforts made to try and pull things together, mend wounds, and improve relationships. But when I saw the memo, I couldn't believe it was like we took a step back. This is from LaToya Gunn. Now, her daughter has said that she's heard other students, white students, use the N-word. And so if they were trying to sit here and deal, so are there racial tensions at the school? Have you talked to other black parents and white parents?
Yeah, I talked to many black parents. My daughter went to the junior high that would be before she goes to.
Are there racial tensions there?
I've never heard of any racial tensions before this particular incident. And even still, even if there were
no, hold on. I'm asking.
Why would you segregate the children by race?
Well, actually,
so if you're having racial problems with so-called black children getting jumped by so-called white children, why would you separate them by race? That's not good enough. They should be getting killed. According to these people. You see where this is leading? Go ahead. Which part?
Actually, it doesn't, Keisha. So, Keisha, because let me sort of just
Mr. Rowland,
allow me as somebody who has dealt with some of these similar issues. It's very similar when in the workplace, where in an environment where a certain group, women, Latinos, African Americans, others, who might feel as if there are fundamental problems going on. You may have a group of black employees that meet with leadership, who meet with the boss. That actually happens. We did that when I was at CNN, where these things happen. In fact, Fox News in June of last year, a group of black employees actually came together and held a meeting with the executive leadership of Fox News to complain about racism and other issues at Fox News. There was a discrimination suit was actually filed by black employees at Fox News. So what you're actually describing, those meetings actually do happen, because what it does is it allows for leadership to actually hear from an aggrieved group to understand what is going on. So what you're saying is you didn't hear of any racism, but according to stories that are done, other black parents have talked about racial tension at this particular school. So if that's the case, do you believe that if there's racial tension in a place, that a group of black students should be able to gather to express their feelings directly to the leadership of the school? Should that happen?
If the individual is affected, black, white, other, whatever you are, if you want to
I asked you a specific question.
If you want to, if you want to take that grievance to the leadership of.
Everybody see that? Let's see what's going on, right? Let's see what you just, it immediately goes away from who's being oppressed to now everybody, right? That's where the conversation always runs to. Go ahead. Go ahead.
An organization, a school, wherever it may be, by all means, go ahead. But to take the entire organization and say, even if you had nothing to do with it, even if you're not experiencing the same thing, and just say, we're going to separate the black folks over here,
so if the black folks
over there, how is that?
Actually, first of all,
racial tension.
Well, first of all, according to the school memo, it was white students and people of color. So people of color includes more than black people. But I'm gonna go back to ask you the other question. If there was an issue where girls at this school had a fundamental issue. Would you have a problem if the girls met separately from the boys?
I would say it again. If those girls, the specific girls who had a problem, I don't think you should round up every girl just because some girls
but that's totally different what you said earlier.
Girls are not experiencing. That's exactly what I said. You should take the individuals that it was affecting and let them go to leadership. Take the individual girls, boys, whoever. Let them go to leadership. Why are we rounding up everybody as if we all think the same and we don't have any type of autonomy or self?
Well, hold on. But earlier you said you have no problem with a separate girls' assembly, separate boys' assembly. You said out your own mouth, oh, there are differences.
Mr. Martin, these are two totally different questions that
No. You literally said. You objected.
Did I think that girls and boys should be segregated at any point in time? And I said, yeah, okay, I can see where girls and boys could be separated. If you're talking, you may want to talk about getting your cycle. Boys don't experience that. Or, boys going through different things that they go through biologically. I can understand a grouping of
so you can
that happens to every girl.
So you can understand that.
Everybody see where this woman is at. This is where they want you at mentally. Okay, so you leave your children defenseless. Okay, because you're not going to fight for your children. You're not going to fight for what they go through. You're not going to fight for your people. Okay, the way she's speaking about certain things that girls go through, that boys don't go through, is the same thing that happens with Black children, with Latino children. Certain things that they go through that white children don't go through. You see that? But you can't talk about that. You can't separate that because that's racist. So the truth's being turned into a lie here. All right? And through the school system. Go ahead, son.
So she was talking about like you should take the individuals and all that. You don't have to gather everyone, but the thing is, it's a school assembly or something. You gotta have each good everyone. That's how they work. Sometimes it's not even about like that topic. Like it could not be that topic. It could be like something like, oh, some kids probably did something, and they're just gonna gather everyone and like say, oh, you shouldn't do that. Like some school assemblies are kind of like just.
It's indoctrination.
No, I'm talking about like school assemblies are just like.
No, it's indoctrination. No, it's indoctrination. I went through it. We all gone through it. It's indoctrination. And what's being done now is to indoctrinate you not to learn the truth about your history or her history. It's about the history doesn't matter. Where we come from doesn't matter.
No,
What's matters is what we say matters. And what we say matters is everybody should be together. We're all the same people. I'm staying on topic here. All of this has to be focused on one agenda. Everything is on one agenda, one topic. Go to Romans 1:25. Hold on. Romans 1:25. Hold on. We'll get the scripture.
Con.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
Who changed the truth of Elohim into a lie?
Who did what?
Who changed the truth of Elohim into a lie?
Come on.
And worship and serve the creature more than the creator.
So these people are serving the creature more than the creator. The creator created a creature, okay? Esau. He created this devil to punish the children of Israel for being wicked, for not serving him, okay? And they're worshiping the creature more than the creator. Read on.
Who is blessed forever. Amen.
Amen. Go ahead.
So I know what you mean.
Finish your thought.
Like, school assemblies are just always random. And it's not even like, it could not be even a serious school assembly. They just gather people. Like, it's like a freaking, I remember did a fire thing where they brought like the firefighters and stuff, say, oh, look, if there's stuff happening and all that, and like, they saw the fire. Like, if they separated, like, there's no reason they'd be able to separate them. Like, that's the reason you have to gather everyone up. So, everyone knows it's clarification for everyone or something. But like, I don't understand if you put like individuals, like example, you're talking like what the kids got jumped or something. If you brought them, it wouldn't be really an assembly. And like, so they just tell them about that. And other students probably want a closure. Like, if they were probably a close friend or they heard about it, they wouldn't know because it would just be private. As I don't know that many people who have been involved in certain things. This is what like she's saying. Does she think like the entire school? Well, no, she has a problem with them grabbing everyone.
She's got a problem with separating anybody from her oppressor. Okay, that's what she's got a problem with. She's got a problem with no matter what they did, no matter what they've done, you separating them is wrong. That's her problem. Okay.
She doesn't want the separation, like the separation would help because they're talking about other topics that would be necessary for both of them.
Right, but this isn't about helping. This isn't about helping. That's the whole point of this. I want everybody to kind of understand this. Go ahead, Pushpa.
But you can't understand a group of white students, a group of people of color, and talking about the issues they may be facing. And here's the deal. If you're Black or Latino and you go to the meetings of people of color, you can stand up and actually say, hey, I've had no issues, no problems here at the school. It's been great and wonderful. What's the problem?
I'm just saying that why do you have to drag everybody in? If it's a specific issue to those people who experience that issue, why can't we let them sort it out? Why are we trying to make this like that every person who is...
It's like you said. It's like you said, the assemblies can help. But you got to understand this mentality and where they want our people at. It's like if it has something to do, if it don't have nothing to do with my kid, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. If it has something to do with the kid that looks like me, I don't want to know. She just wants to bury her head in the sand, let them do whatever they're going to do. Okay?
Identifies within that group or maybe associated within that group that they automatically have the same issue.
Because probably if you've had such a widespread issue, you cast a wide net. But then again, you still had no problem with the group meeting. I'm still going to go back to this here because this is still very interesting. You talked about critical race theory and what we're seeing across this country. We're seeing folks just lump everything in together. They get any conversation, so anything dealing with race. And that to me is what the folly is. The reality is in Florida schools, just like in Texas, in Oklahoma, and Arkansas, critical race theory was not being taught. It was not in the curriculum. It was not there. And so since I'm gonna use your example, Let me just use your example of, well, if this group has a problem, then take it up with them. So if you had a problem with one teacher saying something to your child, why pass a statewide ban on critical race theory when it didn't even exist? Why? If it's only your child or a couple of others, I'm using your setup. Why do a mass ban if there's only a handful of examples? Why?
This is not being taught to just a few individuals.
It's not being taught at all.
How do you know that, Mr. Martin?
Critical race theory is not in the curriculum in Florida.
Like I said, there is no book that they have. It's not an official.
Okay, so how many teachers are teaching it in Florida?
Two.
Okay,
so for instance,
how many teachers in Florida are teaching critical race theory off the books? How many?
I'm not sure.
Okay, but stop. You're not sure. So you went before the State Board of Education and supported a statewide ban on something that you could not quantify.
Yes, because anytime you try to segregate people by their race and say
that's one school.
Group of people
No, Keisha. No, Keisha, that's one school.
Racism.
No, Keisha. So Keisha, wait a minute. Hold up. Let's stay right there.
Clearly,
so you
talking about it.
So wait a minute. You're now contradicting yourself.
No, I am
you
not.
are. You just said if a group of people have a problem at a school, The administrators should only take it up with those people and not do a full assembly, right? That's what you said, right?
What I said was, if there is a specific issue, you were specifically talking about the Douglas Anderson case where there was a specific issue. I was speaking to that. As far as critical race theory, which is a separate issue, what I'm
but
saying
it's not being taught.
This is being widely, yes, it
and
is.
I asked you how widely? How widely?
Myself.
How widely?
I don't know.
Hold up, wait. Hold up.
In my daughter's
Hold
school.
up. 1%. Hold up. You gave
in
me
the
one
school.
teacher. You gave me one teacher. So is it 5% of all teachers in Florida?
Give me Proverbs 9 and 13. And just take a look at her before we read it. Proverbs 9 and 13.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 9, verse 13.
Mhm.
A foolish woman is clamorous.
Is what?
Clamorous.
That means she runs her mouth. He just asked her, how many people are teaching this? Oh, I don't know. But she went in front of a state board, got Fox News and everybody, world news, and she don't know who's teaching it. But she's fighting for her oppressor. Read.
She's simple.
She's what?
Simple.
That's what we're looking at right here. This is where they want you at, Israel. Read.
And knoweth nothing.
And what?
And knoweth nothing.
And knoweth nothing. This woman don't know a damn thing going on. She don't know. All she knows is if you try to take me away from my oppressor, I'm going to scream, kick, fit, I'm going to fight you, I'm going to scratch and claw. I don't care. Do not separate me from my oppressor.
I want to be a slave.
Best slaves money didn't have to buy. Yeah.
Doing this, do you know? Is it 10%?
So if I was to say, okay, well, there's only 2% of racist people in the United States Congress, are you going to be like, oh, well, we don't have to worry about that because it's only 2%?
No. I'm using your example.
I don't want racist teaching anywhere in American classrooms.
Here's the problem. You contradicted yourself. You supported a statewide ban on something that's not even being taught because your child recorded one teacher. You can't even answer. You literally cannot even answer how widespread is it. You said, I don't know. So your deal is, I don't, you sound like.
You're okay with some racism teaching, as long as it's not widespread.
No, here's the deal, Keisha. Okay. I'm going to use your example. Since you had a problem with one teacher, Keisha should have gone, oh, she hung up, y'all. See what happens? This is what happens, y'all. When did she hang up or did our system go out? She hung up. See, this is what happened, y'all, when you're busted.
That's enough. That's the next one we're going to. Yeah. So everybody sees a direct result. Okay, a direct result of what's going on, and we're going to see some more. Okay, and what I want y'all to do, start at 51 seconds.
Live streaming.
If y'all notice, these people, they all have the same mindset. They all have the same mindset. That's what you're going to pick up on. All these people have the same mindset. All right. But there are certain type of people that Yahushua spoke about. All right. Go ahead, push play. So we can get. Go ahead. Get to that ad.
Buffering. Latch.
Mm-hmm.
She annoyed the heck out of me.
Well, that right. This is what's coming. This is what's coming here in the United States. This is what's coming here in Babylon. This is what's coming here in Babylon, and it's got to come to pass. It's got to come to pass. All right. What was that? A little buffering going on.
Right software to make your streams look really professional.
No, this one.
can be a real chore. The thing I like about StreamYard is that the user interface is really simple to understand and can give you a professional look without a whole lot of trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing.
It doesn't matter if you're black or white or any color.
It doesn't matter if you're black.
There. So you always got to pause it, and then you go to the little number. So, yeah, pull the 51. Yeah,
51.
No, I don't want it full screen. Let's find where it's at. Wait. All right. Okay. All right, go ahead and play. And what I want y'all to notice,
congratulating them on the message and asking them.
What I want y'all to notice is it's our people fighting to say that our history doesn't matter. Okay. And they get, it's always our people. That's the condition that we got in common. That's what you're gonna see these people have in common. It's our people fighting to say that our history don't matter. Okay? Because if Esau comes out and say that your history don't matter as so-called black man, so-called Mexican, your history don't matter, you might get mad and snap out of it. Because you don't want the white man telling you that. But if a so-called black woman tells you that, or so-called black man tells you that, you might be like confused a little bit, but then be like, hey, maybe he's right. We should all get along. Push play. Watch.
Been pleased by the response so far.
It's been beautiful. My daughter's been excited about it. I've been showing her the different articles and, showing her everybody's got their eyes on her right now for trying to change the world,
And Royalty, what's your feedback been? What have you enjoyed about the response to the video?
Good.
Good.
Okay. Everybody notice the names?
Yeah. That's the first thing I noticed.
Yeah, well, Yeshua. How do you say it?
Yeshua.
Y'all notice the lion in the back?
Yes.
Y'all notice the names, right?
Yes.
These are the new Christian Israelites right here. Right here. Right here. Go ahead.
What is it, Royalty, that you really wanted to say? What did you want to share with people in that video?
It really doesn't matter what skin color you are.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose some people focus on those things, though, don't they, a lot? And Corey, you're very critical of critical race theory. Of course, race issues have been so dominant and so divisive in the US over the past year. Do you fear that things are going to get worse before they get better?
I just see things as if parents aren't standing up and fighting back and, going to the school board meetings and meeting with the school boards and just speaking up, things will get worse. That's why I made the video I made, and things will get worse. But that's why I made the video I made, and I wanted.
I did.
Just speaking up for their kids, then things will get worse. But that's why I made the video I made, and I wanted people to wake up to what's really going on. And they're trying to brainwash our children.
Yeah, the message that you shared in this video is really the same message that Martin Luther King Jr. shared, of course, and the whole world appreciates the power and the sense of that message, and that is that we don't want people to be judged by the color of the skin. We want them to be judged by the content of their character.
Amen. That's exactly.
Y'all hear that? Talking about Martin Luther King. He's in complete agreement. John 3:16. We all the same. This is the new Christian Israelite right here. Okay, go ahead.
Exactly what he said, and I believe that's exactly what he meant. And that was a big reason behind why I even did the video in the first place and why I come out against critical race theory, because I want young Black children to know that no matter what you go through, no matter where you've been, you can overcome. I want young white children to know that you are not racist because of the color of your skin.
Now, Martin Luther King also said that he integrated his people into a burning house. After that, he got killed. After that, he got killed for admitting that he integrated his people into a burning house to think like this. They killed him after that. He was fine as long as he was teaching, we are the world. Everybody's the same. Okay? He was fine with that. Go ahead.
Skin. And teaching that itself racist.
I agree with you about critical race theory and not trying to focus too much on these issues. But of course, there is racism. You will have encountered racism at times, and your daughter Royalty is likely to as well. How do you confront that? How do you want her to confront racism when and if she finds it?
I believe by doing exactly what I was doing in that video. And that's teaching our children that color doesn't matter. Race doesn't matter. The person matters.
So he asked him, what are you going to do when you confront racism because your daughter's going to face it? His answer is, you teach your children color doesn't matter, race doesn't matter. That's how you're going to meet racism. You're going to meet racists by saying race doesn't matter, color doesn't matter. But what if who I am matters to me? And who they are matters to them? You see that? This is where they want you, like completely asleep, drooling at the mouth like a zombie, just dead, a dead state of mind. He can't protect this little girl. Watch, which way?
Whoever you are on the inside matters. If we all teach our children that, guess what? We'll have a less racist world. That doesn't mean that they won't run across people who are bigoted in some ways, but those, you have to teach your children, those are just ignorant people, and we're always going to have ignorant people in the world. You're never going to completely eradicate racism, but you can instill in your child morals, and you can show them how to treat people.
I just wonder whether Royalty might want to tell us whether they discuss issues like this. They talk about things like skin color at school or with their own friends.
No.
Pause.
It's a pretty.
So nobody talks about skin color. Nobody talks about race. It just don't exist. Yeah, it don't exist. It's not even being talked about. Okay. Hey, hold on. Don't go nowhere. Go ahead.
I just feel bad, like, for the kid. Like, she can't do anything. Like, she's like not. She doesn't even look 8 yet.
She doesn't even know. I know she doesn't even know what she's talking about. She's just following her dad.
Yeah, because that's what they.
Whatever her dad says, that's where it goes.
It's like, because that's what we're taught when we're children.
Follow your
Parents. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's like not even 8. But no, it's fine.
That's what I was gonna say. Right before she answered the question, like I feel like the dad was like kind of like pressuring her, or he looked at her like to like say what needed to be said.
Like not what he wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can't make any choices.
Yeah, she's like what?
But see that what did I say? This is the way they want us. They want us to where the children are defenseless. You can't protect that little girl. She don't even think that she's different than anybody else. So you know, when you walk like that and you're actually being sent into a pit of lions, like jackals, thinking that you're a jackal too, but you're a bunny rabbit.
Yeah.
Okay, so how is your dad, who is also a bunny rabbit, going to protect you from jackals? We're all the same. Don't worry about how mean they are. It's about who you are on the inside. That's detrimental to us as a people. That's detrimental to us as a people, and they're starting that young. How old do you think she is? Not even 8. 6.
Barely learning how to read.
Barely learning how to read and write. She might be in the first grade.
I mean, also
She might be in the first grade. Maybe the first grade. I'll give her maybe the first grade.
She's missing teeth. So
Yeah. Can't be any older than first grade.
Yeah.
Second grade at the oldest. Yeah, the second grade at the very oldest. All right, this the one we're getting next. Okay, that's enough of that. Let the commentary not necessary. All right, go ahead and pull it up. No, just go to the inbox, not that.
I can go back, but you know, it's unloading there. It's still
All right. So let's see. Yeah, that one right there. Okay, so couple more videos too, because I could explain it, but it makes it's more direct when you're getting a sense of what's being taught from people that are in the public. Okay, people that are in the public. Okay.
Definitely by far awesome.
Wet or dry, easy to clean.
Oh shit. Got ads right here. How much of this were y'all aware of as, you know, out of school age and still school age? How much of this were y'all aware of?
Not this much.
the freaking that apparently it's a problem. We were taught slavery, so that was the problem.
I didn't know. I didn't know they was thinking like this.
I knew I follow up.
It's gonna be nice.
Oh yeah, that lady. Yeah.
I
You
get.
think she go talk about it?
Oh yeah, she already did.
We were taught
part-
slavery and stuff like everyone. So
Right.
because our science teacher.
Okay. Let's I want to make sure that the class is still streaming or the screen is still sharing.
It is.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead and push play. So.
Republicans have introduced legislation to censure Representatives Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Pressley. The resolution comes 1 week after Representative Omar came under fire from Republicans and Democrats.
Okay, rewind it a little bit. Okay, push play.
Tlaib and Ayanna Pressley. The resolution comes 1 week after Representative Omar came under.
Okay, so you have. I want y'all to understand these are representatives in the government and 4 women of color. Okay, 2 Latinas, 2 so-called Black women. Okay, one's a Muslim, of course. All right. Go ahead.
Under fire from Republicans and Democrats for statements taken as comparing the United States to terrorist organizations. The resolution introduced today condemns the squad for defending foreign terrorist organizations and perpetuating a narrative that has incited anti-Semitic attacks across the United States. If passed, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi would be forced to rebuke the squad while personally reading the legislation, which political analysts believe is the true goal of the Republicans anyway. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is also preparing a resolution to strip Representative Omar of her seat on the Foreign Affairs Committee, a move believed to be a payback for the Democrats removing Marjorie Taylor Greene from her House committees for inflammatory comments and behavior that she has displayed. Taylor Greene, since then, has backtracked on her comments comparing mask mandates to the Holocaust. During an impromptu press conference today, after a visit to the Holocaust Museum, she said that she was removing the comparison from her rebukes of COVID measures. Joining me to discuss is host of the Laura Flanders Show, Laura Flanders, and journalist and host of Run Tell This podcast, Mara Scava-Campo. I always get it wrong. Scavio Campo. I did it right the second time.
Okay. The one on the right is against the squad. She's against the Blacks and Latinas that are talking about the idea of teaching history, of teaching our history is a good thing. Our children should know their history. It should be taught. It's no different than any other nation out here teaching their history. That's what they call them, the squad. That's what they call them, right? The so-called Caucasian lady, or the Edomite over here, she's actually for the squad. It's a little weird, but she's actually for the squad. She actually supports the so-called Blacks and Latinas for what they're doing. All right. Now, I just want to make sure I clarify that so we move forward in this conversation. Go ahead.
You got close.
I nailed it.
Perfect.
10s across the board. So I'm going to start with you because I garbled your name like that. So, I don't understand this tit for tat playback. Is this? It feels to me, and I'm not a woman, but it feels to me like you attack a woman on our side, we'll attack women on your side. It feels very kind of sexist in a way.
No, it's blurry.
Okay.
Well, let's first look at the equivalence
Rewind it a little bit.
we're trying to make between Marjorie.
Okay. That's good.
Kind of
It's a little better, but it's still blurry.
sexist in a way.
Well, let's first look at the equivalency that some are trying to make between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Ilhan Omar. So the comments that Marjorie Taylor Greene has faced consequences for.
No, you're going to have to go back to auto.
She's been stripped of media assignments, include everything from claiming that the Parkland shooting was a fraud, that it never happened.
Go ahead and go back to auto.
That it's just a conspiracy theory, talking about Jewish space.
Okay, so go ahead and
Lasers
rewind
and
it.
talking about things.
What you were saying.
Everything from claiming that the Parkland shooting was a
Pause it real quick.
happened, that it.
Okay, everybody saw her name. You got to rewind it a little bit. Okay, go ahead and push play.
Comments that Marjorie Taylor Greene has faced consequences for. She's been stripped of committee assignments, include everything from claiming that the the Parkland shooting was a fraud, that it never happened, that it's just a conspiracy theory, talking about Jewish space lasers. I mean, we are talking about things that in a pre-Trump world, you could never imagine any politician saying and being able to retain their position. But of course, we're now in a post-Trump world. Compared to the comments that Ilhan Omar is now facing.
Go out of that, close it and reopen it. No. Go push backwards. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Well, I mean, when you start dealing with politics, immediately gonna go back
Before
to
you
Trump.
scroll away, Democratic headquarters urgently need.
Okay, bear with us, family. Okay, so we're gonna fast forward that to once it comes up. We're gonna fast forward that.
You to sign this petition to protect voting rights before the deadline.
Okay, we're not gonna watch that entire video, but I want y'all to kind of hear a little bit of what she's got to say and what the so-called squad is saying.
House Republicans have introduced legislation to censure Representatives Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayan. Moving the comparison from her rebukes of COVID measures. Joining me to discuss is host of the Laura Flanders Show, Laura Flanders, and journalist and host of Run Tell This podcast, Mara Scavacampo. I always get it wrong. Scavio Campo. I did it right the second time, right?
You got close. Perfect.
10s across the board. So I'm going to start with you because I garbled you. So, I don't understand this tit for tat playback. Is this? It feels to me, and I'm not a woman, but it feels to me like you attack a woman on our side, we'll attack women on your side. It feels very kind of sexist in a way.
Well, let's first look at the equivalency that some are trying to make between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Ilhan Omar. So the comments that Marjorie Taylor Greene has faced consequences for, she's been stripped of committee assignments, include.
Okay, so that's her name. This is why I couldn't get it right. That's her name. All right, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Go ahead.
Everything from claiming that the Parkland shooting was a fraud, that it never happened, that it's just a conspiracy theory, talking about Jewish space lasers. I mean, we are talking about things that in a pre-Trump world, you could never imagine any politician saying and being able to retain their position. But of course, we're now in a post-Trump world. Compared to the comments that Ilhan Omar is now facing a lot of criticism for right now, which was questioning Secretary of State Blinken about specific instances of human rights violations, allegations, and whether or not they would be investigated appropriately. So we're talking about one representative who makes these baseless, wild, crazy time conspiracy theories. I mean, she's one step away from wearing a tin hat to someone else who's being criticized for.
So she's a elected representative in the government, but she's one step away from wearing a tin hat because of the things that she's saying and accusing all these other nations of and saying what's happening to our people. All right, go ahead.
Or a tweet that understandably some took offense to because of the fact that it linked together Hamas, the United States, the Taliban, and Israel. So there are no equivalencies there. But at the end of the day, this is politics. And I think both sides are using this to their political advantage. I think that in this case, though, with Omar, what's unique is that she faced a lot of criticism from her own colleagues. But again, I think that's political as well, because I think they're trying to signal that they're not moving too far to the left. Why? Because they're trying to get ready for midterm elections. And in the case of Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's the same thing. It's just politics. They don't want to alienate the base of the boring tinfoil hats. And so both sides are doing what they have to do to try to maintain the advantage that they need.
Laura, let's talk about this on the merits. There's always something about the attacks on a squad that has always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. On the merit, I mean, first of all, they are for women of color. And they are challenging the United States to be more honest and open about itself, right? And so you can disagree with how they do that. You can disagree with the words that they use, but it is a constant.
These 4 women are actually challenging the United States to come open and clean about what it really is, what Babylon is really consistent of, and they're being attacked for it. Okay, go ahead.
Challenge that they are issuing to the country to say, this is not right, we have to call it out, and if I don't call it out, who's going to do it? And there's something about the fact that these 4 women of color are constantly challenging the status quo that just makes the world explode or make the country explode. And that feels like part of what makes them the constant targets of the right. Is that the way you see it, or is there something else that they're doing that makes them the constant targets?
There's just something about it, Charles. I can't imagine. There's just something about it, Charles. I can't imagine what it might be. I mean, truly attacking the victims of discrimination and prejudice for being prejudiced is backlash tactics from the old days. This always works, and we see it over and over again. So every time you have people challenging the status quo, you accuse them of bias against the status quo, if you will. And I think that, it's been interesting to see just how much bipartisanship we actually do have in Congress when it comes to attacking the squad and Ilhan Omar in particular. But I think, it's very serious what's happening here. And maybe Brad Schneider, the Democrat of Illinois, I thought it was a smart idea to sort of match the attacks on the squad with a censor motion for Marjorie Taylor Greene. But my colleague is totally right. This gives us this scenario of false equivalence, which is dangerous. And there are no facts here. On the side of what Ilhan Omar said, we are now discussing things she never said. The allegation is enough on behalf of the right. They just make the case. We follow their talking points. We're talking about it today. We're not talking about real attacks of anti-Semitism around the country. We're not talking about a real humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. We're not talking about voting rights or infrastructure. We're talking about this brouhaha on the Hill. But it does have one important aspect, and that is, the contrast in the way the Democrats versus the Republicans treat their extremes, the radicals at their extremes. On the right, the Republicans tend to kind of coddle them, to cultivate their supporters. They know that's where the juice is in the party. So in forcing the centrist Democrats to distance themselves from their extremes, they're doing what I think we should learn from, which is that they understand that that's where the juice is on the Democratic side too. And if they can drive a wedge, they'll do it. And there's nothing that acts more like kryptonite on Democrats than allegations of anti-Semitism. They would sell out their own children at the.
Y'all hear that? There's nothing the Democrats won't back off from. All you got to do is say that you're being anti-Semitic. You're talking about a Jewish person, and they back off. They say, "Hey, you're right. We get it." Look, I want to show this lady why she's a proponent. This lady, she looks like a woman of color. I want to show you all why why this is such a problem for her. Okay. Mara Scolaville Campo. Okay, this is her. This is her bio from Wikipedia. Okay, this is her bio. And her history, this is her personal life. She worked for ABC News, CBS News, Yahoo, Ebony Magazine, The Oprah Winfrey Show, Dr. Oz, Uptown, NBC. She's got all of these accolades. Anchor at MSNBC, First Look, all this. Here's her personal life. That woman is married to somebody named Tommy Porter. The couple have 2 children. The family lives in Harlem, New York. She is, wait for it, born of a what?
Sicilian Italian father and an African American mother.
How about that? How about that? She's a tear. She's definitely an Edomite, but she's a tear. And this is going to run rampantly and consistent through our community while we're pushing these things with our people. All right. I think I have one more. I want to share. Okay. And okay. Here we go. Here we go, Israel. We're not going to take long here. And we're going to make this real simple and plain. This is going to be very simple. It has to be. Okay. See, and actually, before we get to this, I want to say, you go around. Make sure you go around that one. Discretion advised. Parental discretion advised. Most of it's beeped out, but the N word is going to be said. This is a situation where an Asian man, this is just recent incident, shot a 6-year-old black child. Okay, this recently just happened. Okay. But, you know, you can't look at race when it comes down to these things.
Shot a little boy. He walks free, making bond on Tuesday. Has this family angry and confused.
And I'm trying to figure out how he got a bond that was so low for trying to kill my kid.
So that means he shot a child. Now he's out on the streets, bailed out. Shot a 6-year-old.
Daniel trying to figure out why Ryan Lee Wen is out of jail after allegedly shooting his son Kobe.
He tried to hit me with a sledgehammer, but that's not gonna work because I'm too fast.
So then what did he do?
Got a gun, boom, shot me right here.
It's all on video Saturday afternoon on Candlewood Lane. You'll see kids playing, hear a gunshot, then Kobe realizes he's hit. Lee Wen allegedly fired through his front window. The bullet went in Kobe's arm and out the other side.
So how often are we seeing grown black men shooting Asian children and walking out with a bond? Never. Never. This is trauma that we continually see. And we're on the losing end of it every single time. All right.
Our people, nigga. They don't kill the Chinese motherfuckers
don't take the economics that they take from us and put back in our community and help black children read better. They don't give us no computers. They don't help sit down and tutor us in academics, in college, in high school. They do not with us. And if you get an interview on a job by a Chinese man and you black, they will not hire you. They have made that clearly known in the employment world that they will not hire a black person. And if they're your supervisor, they go on you. If you go in their stores, they go on you. If you go to their nail shops, they go on you. Them people on us. And here it is. They done made it over there to the gold mine rush where niggas done run off the plantation. You see what happened when niggas run off the plantation and go to California? They get weak and they get soft and they let them good straight hair motherfuckers, whatever they are, Asian motherfuckers say they some niggas.
Isn't that being racist? Though?
I'm very racist. As bad as niggas been done in the United States of America, we used to have to our mamas to make babies. The black boy used to get a bag put on his head. And all he did was he his sister. He had to his aunties. They used to breed us, homie. They used to cut our dicks off. Niggas used to have to hang and get his cut off and put in his mouth. They used to have a way with us. You think I ain't racist and I know my history? And we still getting done bad. As bad as we've been getting done in this country, it ain't not one legislation to stop rap music from promoting our destruction and our death. But ain't one legislation. How the f they get some? Because one white boy killed 7 of them. One white man went and killed 7 of them stupid motherfuckers. Nigga, we've been dying at a rate that's unreal. Due to the destruction of rap music and hip-hop culture, we have been, and it's been a pandemic in black death, gun violence against black males in our communities. Where's our legislation? Where's our protection? Damn, nigga, they had one bad month. They done had one bad month in America. Let the man, when the police start killing them, then I'll shut up. But let the police stop killing us and kill some of them goddamn Asian motherfuckers and see how fast they get legislation for police shooting. That's all I'm saying. Let the white police kill them and take a break off us. And I'm sick of how niggas get done and we can't be racist. You mean to tell me we don't own nothing? We can't tell the Asian people they can't come in our restaurants. So how in the I'm gonna be racist, nigga? I'm prejudiced. I'm prejudiced because I understand the history of the United States of America, of my people. Nigga, we still trapped in bondage, and the Asian boy got us in the headlock too, my nigga. Don't y'all forget that, niggas. You see how they do us?
A little boy.
Give me Ecclesiastes 77. See, our enemies don't want us to think like him. Okay, because see, you can't continue to oppress people who know who the enemy are, who knows who the enemy is, and knows their history. They don't want us thinking like him. Okay, they want us thinking like the people we've been watching, right? Read what you got.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
Read it again.
Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
That's why he's so pissed off. He sees the oppression. He sees the oppression and understands the oppression and what's been done to our people. Okay? Go ahead.
And a gift destroys the heart.
And a what?
And a gift destroys the heart.
That's the problem. That's why you see our people slaves. Because they'll take whatever we've been given. Yeah. They'll take whatever we've been given, whatever gifts you can give them, give you a good job, and you completely destroy it. Your mind is done. All right? Done. I think this is going to be my last clip. Okay? Go ahead and play that. Okay, because our enemies don't want us thinking like him. And y'all heard what he said about rap music. There's not one piece of legislation that's put forth that rap culture has destroyed our people. Okay?
I want to welcome you to
Yeah, go ahead and talk.
our parent university session. In March of 2019, our Board of Education unanimously approved our equity policy. This policy also seeks to disrupt societal and historical inequities arising from institutional racism and white supremacy in our schools.
What will that message gain us?
Look at this.
What type of inspiration are we expecting people to get from this, from critical race theory?
The social justice standards are a roadmap for anti-bias education at every stage of kindergarten through 8th grade instruction.
Are our kids, are they half oppressor, half victim? How does that work?
And when they come home, who do they see? Do they see their mom and their dad, or do they see an oppressor and the oppressed?
Developmentally, we know.
Do we need to watch any more of this?
No.
We don't. It's clear. I think we've shown plenty of proof of what's going on when it comes down to critical race theory. Yeah, hand me that. Thank you. I think we've shown enough proof of this. And we're gonna stop sharing. All right, we've seen enough of that. And I'm gonna say something else. Give me Psalms 111 and verse 4. Psalms 111 verse 4. I'm gonna say something else. But have any of you ever noticed around the world that so-called Black Americans are the only ones to say that our race, our melanin, who we are and our history don't matter? Have you ever noticed that? We're the ones that's fighting, only ones that fight to not matter. We're the only ones that fight to not matter. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Jabari, Yahabashim Shabrakta, Second Officer William Rice, Yahabashim Shabrakta. Appreciate you brothers joining us today. Have y'all ever noticed we're the only ones out here fighting to not matter? Because that's what we're looking at. We're like everybody else. We're no different than anybody else. You can't go anywhere else on the planet where people fight for that. Nowhere else on the planet. All right? Give me Psalms 111 verse 4.
This book of Psalms, chapter 111, verse 4.
Uh-huh.
He hath made his wonderful works to be remembered.
Right? And here's the thing. The fact that we're out here fighting to not matter is a curse. It's a curse. All right? Start from the top.
Verse 4. He hath made his wonderful works to be remembered.
Uh-huh.
Yahweh is gracious and full of compassion.
The Most High is gracious and full of compassion. Read on.
He hath given meat unto them that fear him. He will ever be mindful of his covenant.
He'll always remember the covenant that he made with Israel. Read on.
He hath shewed his people the power of his word, that he may give them the heritage of the heathen.
That he may give them what?
The heritage of the heathen.
And what is a heathen? Anybody know?
Someone who's against the Most High, someone who's against the law.
Close. Anybody else? Heathen is somebody of another nation, a totally different nation. So read verse 6 again.
Verse 6, he hath shewed his people the power of his works, that he may give them the heritage of the heathen.
And again, a heathen is somebody of another nation who has no inheritance, no blessing, okay, and no promise. This is the same thing that happened in the past, and these people are the same ones that are doing it again. Okay, they're doomed. These people are doomed, and this is what we're seeing that's coming back into the earth. All right, give me Ecclesiastes 1 and 15. Ecclesiastes 1 and 15.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 15. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered.
See, when Esau wins the minds of our women, they win the minds of our nurturers, of our children. They're the very first teachers of our children, okay? Once they won the mind of our women, they won the mind of the nurturers who the children first learn from. And they've done this in ancient times, and this is never going to change. Okay, we can't straighten Esau out. Vengeance is of the Most High, but our people still want to conform, and this is what we've done even since ancient times. Go to First Maccabees. Let's get in the Apocrypha. Again, if it's the first time joining us, the Apocrypha is Greek word for hidden books. This connects the so-called Old Testament with the New Testament. You can get it on Amazon for about $7-8. Okay, the Protestant church took it out. It's in the original 1611 King James Bible. Okay, the complete works. Let's go to First Maccabees 1:41.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus.
Antiochus was a Greek. He was a so-called Edomite. Go ahead.
Wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
All should be what?
One people.
We're going to read down to 53. Go ahead.
And everyone should leave his laws.
Everybody should leave their laws. Go ahead.
So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
All the heathen agreed. Okay. According to the commandment of the king. All the nations agreed. Go ahead.
Yea. Many also of the Israelites.
Many also what?
The Israelites.
Come on.
Consented to his religion.
So not only did the other nations agree, a lot of Israelites agreed to that. Okay. To follow the commandments of the king. Man-made commandments. Go ahead.
And sacrifice unto idols.
Sacrifice unto idols. Come on.
And profane the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
So because they're following after the king don't want them to keep the Sabbath. He don't want them to keep the feast days. He don't want them to keep the laws of the Most High. He wants them to do what he wants them to do. So everybody can be one people. That sound familiar? It sound like where we're at. Because it's the same people that run this society. Read on.
And pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law.
They might what?
Forget the law.
They might forget the law. Come on.
And change all the ordinances.
Go ahead.
And whatsoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
He should what?
He should die.
So if you don't listen to the king, and you decide to listen to the Creator, he's going to put you to death. Read on.
In the self same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city.
City by city, come on.
Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land.
And bring it home, verse 83.
And drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for secure.
So it's the same thing with the same people all over again. These are the same tactics that they use. And Esau has always used these tactics against Israel. All right. Let's go to Deuteronomy 2:12. Deuteronomy 2:12.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 2, verse 12. The Horims.
The Horims, come on.
Also dwelt in Seir. Seir, before time.
So Mount Seir was the heritage that the Most High gave Esau. But the Horims dwelt there before time. Read.
But the children of Esau succeeded them.
So the children of Esau actually came in after the Horims. Read.
When they had destroyed them.
When they had what?
Destroyed them.
Come on.
From before them. And dwelt in their state.
And dwelt in their stead, meaning dwelt in their place, took their place. Read.
As Israel did unto the land of his possession, which Yahweh gave unto them.
Because the Canaanites were there first, Israel came and took over. Okay, so these were the ancient people in Esau's mountains before them, the Horims. And guess what Esau did? They destroyed them. That's what they did. Let's go to 2nd Esdras 10:21. in the Apocrypha. 2nd Esdras 10 and 21. Because that's what Esau does everywhere he goes. Rape, rob, and murder all the people of the land, assume the identity of the people that live there, and move the indigenous people out. And that's what they've always done. They've always done that. Okay. Let's get 2nd Esdras 10 and 21.
Con, this is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 10, verse 21. For thou seest that our sanctuary is laid waste, our altar broken down, our temple destroyed. Our psaltery is laid on the ground, our song is put to silence. Our rejoicing is at an end. The light of our candlestick is put out. The ark of our covenant is spoiled. Our holy things are defiled, and the name that is called upon us is almost profaned. Our children are put to shame. Our priests are burnt. Our Levites are gone into captivity. Our virgins are defiled, and our wives ravished. Our righteous men carried away. Our little ones destroyed.
Our little ones what?
Destroyed.
Read.
Our young men are brought in bondage, and our strong men are become weak.
Bring it on verse 23.
And which is greatest of all, the seal of Zion.
The seal of Zion, the very fabric, the thing that represents Israel, the nation of Israel, come on,
hath now lost her honor.
For
she is delivered into the hands of them that hate us.
If this is the prophecy of Israel, we never left this captivity. It's the same captivity. They just call themselves Caucasians now, so-called white people. That's what they call themselves now. They were ancient Greeks, then they were Romans. Now they're American. There's no different. Everybody's name gets changed to hide because we've been delivered into the hands of people that hate us. All right. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 5 and 9. We're going to stay in the Apocrypha. Chapter 5, verse 9. And we're going to read down to verse 12.
Chapter 5, verse 9.
Yes, sir.
Come. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 5, verse 9. Then the heathen that were at Gilad assembled themselves together against the Israelites that were in their quarters to destroy them, but they fled to the fortress of Dathema and sent letters unto Judas and his brethren. The heathen that are round about us are assembled together against us to destroy us.
So all the other nations always got together to fight against Israel, always, since ancient times. Go ahead.
And they are preparing to come and take the fortress whereunto we are fled. Timotheus being captain of their host. Come now, therefore, and deliver us from their hands, for many of us are slain.
See, this is the condition that we're in right now. Many of us have been slain, and we are surrounded by the enemy. And most of us don't even understand it. But, you know, with us being in a condition of war right now, most of our people want to go to bed and just die in their sleep. That's just really what it is. They just want to go to bed, die in their sleep because they want to be one with the oppressor. They just want to be the same people. And I'm going to show you who these people are. Okay. Let's go in the New Testament. All right. Let's get John 11 and 47. Okay. I got two more precepts. John 11 and 47. Because these are the same people that are here on earth again today. All right. Bring that out when you
The
got
book of John, chapter 11, verse 47.
Start at verse 46.
Verse 46. But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Yahushua had done. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles.
So they're sitting around, the leaders and the chief priests, they're sitting around thinking, what are we going to do? Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is doing many miracles. Okay, read on.
If we let him thus alone.
If we let him do what he's doing, read.
All men will believe on him.
Everybody's going to believe. Read.
And the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
Who's going to take it away?
The Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
Wow. They worried about the white man taking away their power, their position, and their money. That's what they're worried about. And those are the same people that we're dealing with today. Same people. These are the same people that were concerned about our King, our Messiah, our Savior, helping us. Not the rich people, not all the other nations, but the people that are in destitute, the people that need a Savior. They're more concerned about what the so-called white man gonna do for them. Back then they called them Romans. All right. The last scripture is in Matthew. Okay, because the Messiah is going to tell you exactly who these people are. You got a glimpse right there. Now we're going to learn exactly who they are. Matthew 13 and 24. Shout out to Officer Brad. We talk about this all the time, man. We talk about these types of people all the time. We're going to get Matthew 13 and 24. We're going to read down to verse 30. Bring that up.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept.
So the kingdom of heaven is just like sowing good seed in the field. But when the man went to sleep, read.
But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares.
Sowed what?
Tares.
He sowed tares, read.
Among the wheat and went his way.
And went his way. He sowed tares and went his way. Read on.
But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also.
So not only was there good fruit, but there was tares there also. Read on.
So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares?
How is it that among Israel, God's chosen people, the apple of his eye, the daughter of Zion, we have tares among us? They're tares that are among us. They look just like us. They were sown the same way, but they are tares among us. Read on.
He said unto them, an enemy hath done this.
An enemy did this. An enemy put these people among us to fight for them. Read.
The servant said unto him, wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them.
So that's why the Most High has not utterly destroyed these tares, because if he does, he's going to destroy all of us. So that's why he hasn't destroyed the tares. Okay? Bring it home to verse 30.
Let both grow together until the harvest.
Let both grow together unto the harvest. Read.
And in the time of the harvest.
During that time, once it's time for harvest, read.
I will say to the reapers. Gather ye together first the tares.
First what?
The tares.
First the tares, read.
And bind them in bundles to burn them.
And bind them in what?
Bundles to burn them.
Read.
But gather the wheat into my barn.
That's who these people are. They're tares. And during the time of judgment, the Most High is going to gather them up. Said he's going to bind them up into bundles and burn them. But gather the wheat into my barn, into my house. Okay? This is who these people are. And we have to know who our enemy is. Because see, there's always there will always be tares. And these people that are supporting and throwing away, support the idea of throwing away our history and our nationality to teach our children to join onto the enemy and to the people that hate us. These people are tares. And the Messiah talked about them back then. And they have their judgment. Are there any questions about the lesson today? Anything? Going once? Going twice? You know what? And I want to say this. I want to give my young lions and lionesses a round of applause myself for you guys giving your input on this, because this is directly geared towards you all. Okay? You are going in school and coming out of school. It's targeting the youth. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating because of the way it's being done. It's being done in such a divisive way to destroy our children and destroy our future. Okay? again, if anybody has any questions about the lesson or any references regarding any of the clips that we went over, just shoot us an email and I'll be glad to get that back to you. Outside of that, I wanna thank my young lion, young Keno, RIA, young Yaden, RIA, for helping me on the boards, helping me with the class. The young daughters of Zion that are here with me, I appreciate everybody's help. As always, I want to give a shout out to the elders and messengers of the covenant. I want to give a shout out to leadership here at KOI. Shout out to all the congregation here at Kingdom of Israel United Worldwide. Shout out to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered abroad. And always, always give all honor, power, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. I'm Captain Shazael RA. With that, say Shabbat Shalom.